Here we go again. Welcome back, everybody, to Corked Stats on YouTube with your host, John Legaza, the big dude with the big mouth from the Big Apple, coming to you worldwide from Brooklyn, New York, as always, as we get you ready for the upcoming MLB 2022 fantasy baseball and betting season. Man, I'm coming out the chair, as always, ready to bring you this, the fastest show in MLB anywhere. Thanks for jumping on to the channel. Smash the like button. That's that animated thumbs up in the air. Make sure you're subscribed to get whenever these new videos are dropping. Sorry, it has been a little while since I've gotten here. Things were a little bit busy, but we're getting back on track. If you are unfamiliar with my work, welcome. You can follow me on Twitter at MLB Moving Averages, that MLB Moving AVG. I've also had videos up 2 times a week on the Mayo Media Network. Make sure you get over there, subscribe to that stuff. There's got to be at least a dozen or 2 videos so far, real detailed stuff. You know, I'm bringing the context and the nuance, the rolling charts, and all the stuff that you need to stay ahead of the curve, as everybody seems to be getting sharper and sharper in this age of ubiquitous information. But it's our job, you know, to stay on the tip of that spear. And one of the ways I do that is to look at rolling averages, like I mentioned before. One of the best ways to indicate trend changes, better than, you know, season stats or even half stats. Let's get into today's topic. It's Big Meat Pete, the polar bear, Pete Alonso, the big righty on the New York Let's Go Mets go. Let's take a look. We know Alonso is a big time power hitter, but what we're doing is trying to see what's going on under the hood to help us understand what we might expect going forward. Let's start with the tail of the tape. As always, again, if you're unfamiliar with my work, we try and be as objective as possible. We're going to walk you through all of the statistical baskets. We're going to go over surface stats. We're going to go over discipline. We're going to go over elevation, batted ball quality, and then to projections to see what we could see for next year. Let's begin with the tail of the tape. You can see that snazzy little graphic up. Pete Alonso going off the board at ADP 57, the 5th first baseman off the board. Those are your 2021 stats. 262 BA, 37 home runs, 94 ribbies, 81 runs. He even chipped in with a couple of steals. Everything was really in place for all your power metrics. 519 slug, an 863 OPS, 257 ISO, was good for a 363 WOBA, a 133 WRC plus. Everything firmly above average, all backed up by your expected stats. A 529 X slug and a 373 X WOBA. All of those are firmly in, like, let's say, the top 10 percentile of the league. Exactly where you'd be looking for those top kind of 60 picks overall. I mentioned the next basket is discipline. Always a great place to start to look for changes. Pete Alonso cut the K rate. And when you look at the rolling charts, I know we have some audio-only listeners out there. I've got your rolling K percentage next to your contact percentage, right? That's what we want to determine when we're looking at disciplinary metrics. If a hitter is striking out less, but if they're replacing it also with a higher contact. You could strike out less, walk more, but not be putting the ball in play any more than often. That's not what you're getting with Alonso. Look at the distinct drop in K rate. That rolling K rate bottoms out near 15, and even with the rise that we saw, it started to head back down again when it got to that 20% rate, all better than average. So if you have a hitter like Pete Alonso with a better than average K rate, the sky really is the limit. Remember, he has a 53 home run season under his belt. And over to the right hand side, you have the contact chart. Again, undeniable trend in the right direction. That contact number topped out near 80, and even with a bit of regression, it stopped back at the mean. If he picks up where he left off next season, wow, this is a serious discount for Alonso. So we're through the disciplinary basket where he showed major changes. They look to be real. Let's pop over into the next one. That's your elevation. Your left-hand side, you've got your fly ball rate. Pete Alonso's fly ball rate is up year over year, and it's also way better than average. Look at the ground ball rate. That's right in the middle. The ground ball rate is down year over year and well below average. Always where we want to be as far as Pete Alonso's lift is going. And now to backtrack just a second, it shows you why that increase in contact is so important. The more contact he makes, the more he's lifting the ball. Let's get into the last basket, batted ball quality. This one is probably the least of a surprise how excellent it is. I've I've got a custom chart up here. I'll take you through the advanced metrics in the power basket for Pete Alonso up against the average. So Pete is in that nice bright orange. The league is in that kind of drab gray. Alonso with the upper hand, by far a distinct edge in power on the average by leaps and bounds. 47.5% hard hit rate via StatCast. That's nearly half of the time that Pete hits the ball. It's at 95 miles an hour. You see the blast rate at 15 to the league average 8, nearly doubled. The blast rate, that's your ideal subset of barrels. It's the barrel of barrels at 8% to the league average 4, more than double. DHH, that's dynamic hit rate. It's a combination of exit velocity and launch angle. Again, nearly double the league average. Pete Alonso is a killer with the bat. If you look up top, the 377 xWOBA I mentioned, but a 437 expected WOBA on contact. That's a contact-only metric. That is near the top of the league. Alonso was also, I believe, 6th overall in max exit velocity at like 118.5 miles an hour. So I knew we weren't worried about power coming in, but again, nuance and context. The devil is always in the details, and that's where you come to Corked Stats. We're not just reading stats here. We are understanding the makings, the underpinnings of these output stats. So I know we knew it was good coming in, but it never hurts to look at the advanced stuff, everything firmly in place. So looking forward, things look pretty bright for Pete Alonso, but the best place to start when we're trying to project is with, you guessed it, projection systems. I have all the major ones up there, the Bat Extra Drop plus the Bat, ATC, Steamer, Zips, they're all up there. I don't like to choose one over the other, though. For pitching, I think I like Steamer. For hitting, I prefer Derek Carty's Bat X. It incorporates a lot of StatCast stuff, the same as mine, and I find that, we're a little more simpatico there. What I have in the big bold letters there is your Steamer projections. They're probably the most prominent and the ones you could expect the most push from the market from. So they have Alonso down for a 262 average, 42 home runs, 112 ribbies, and 95 runs, which automatically really answers my question of how they were digesting the increase, the improvement, I should say, in K rate. Steamer does have a K projection up at 22%, in line with the improvements, which is why you see the boost in home runs and the boost in counting stats. The OBP will be higher, so the runs are going to be higher. The home runs are higher, so the ribbies will be higher. Man, I'm loving every bit of this, though. With elevated fly ball rates, it's hard to expect a push up in average, which is what we see from Steamer as well. So I think I am locked in to these projections totally. And even if you go to the lowest of the projection systems, no one has him projected lower than 38 home runs or 105 ribbies with 90 runs scored. So I am not sure why Pete Alonso has even fallen back as far as he has. He's still very young. There's still more in the tank. And like we've seen K improvements, unlocking of the disciplinary basket, which really could open up to that MVP type season that is in the range of outcomes for Pete Alonso. So I think in conclusion, it is wheels up, all systems go for big meat Pete. I mean, we knew we were getting power coming into this exercise, but as we go through all the baskets, again, why it's so important to compartmentalize these things so no one stat tips the scale for us. We don't want to just see projected 42 home runs and just assume that's where we want to put our chips. We want to know what's going on and exactly what to expect and why. So with an improved disciplinary basket, which has come with an improved contact metrics, with sustained elevation metrics and sustained elite batted ball quality, you have all the makings of a legit kind of MVP caliber player here. And I think Pete Alonso fits into any format, and I'll tell you why. So in point leagues, it's obvious, it's automatic, is to be on base all the time, mashing all the time, knocking in tons of ribbies. He's probably undervalued in point leagues because it's Roto ADP that seems to win the day. When it comes to Roto, it probably depends on my first round pick. If I end up with Bryce Harper, let's say big power, maybe you don't need a Pete Alonso. But if you end up with a first rounder that's either a pitcher or maybe one of the more speed-oriented early picks in Roto, let's say it's Trey Turner or even Bo Bichette, that probably have 28 or 30 home run ceilings, you could easily complement them with Pete Alonso, who is not empty power. Get that idea out of your head. When you're talking about a 260, 265 or north of that average with 40 potential home runs and a 220 ribbies plus runs, this is not empty power. You even get get a couple steals chipped in. I know you see 2 or 3 steals. It doesn't kind of move the needle, but maybe it should, because if your power hitters all chip in 3 or 4, and there's 5 or 6 of those hitters, 5 hitters at 3 or 4 steals, you're talking 15 to 20 steals, which absolutely will move you up the categories at the end of the year. So even when you're looking for power hitters, it's very important to try and circle those with good disciplinary baskets that also chip in a couple steals. All of that you get with Pete Alonso. So I think that'll do it here at Corked Stats today. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around and picking up what I'm putting down. Like I said, pretty please smash that like button. Get up in the comments. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know who you want to see, what you might want to see added, what you like, what you don't like, what you're indifferent to. Remember, I am here for you. We want to build a community of fishermen. You're saying, fishermen? We're here talking about baseball. It's because if you hand a man a fish, right, he'll learn to fish for a day. When you teach someone to fish, they fish for a lifetime. I'm going to teach you to fish in a way that you could teach other people to fish, where eventually it's a culture of fishermen. So that should do it from the big dude, Big Johnny Stud. Thanks so much, everybody. Circle Pete Alonso in those drafts. He is viable in every single format at the cost, and don't expect that price to rise, so grab those shares now. I think that'll do it. When you work this hard, it feels a lot less like luck, everyone. I catch you on the flip side, yo. Peace.